Welcome back to the channel. It is July 22nd. This is going to be the NFC North Preview. Get you guys ready for your fantasy football drafts and the fantasy football season. Just breaking down the Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, and your Minnesota Vikings for you, so you guys can have a better idea of who to aim for in this upcoming season. The basketball season is over. We are adjusting to football. We're going to get more content, more previews, more rankings, all that and above on this channel leading up to the regular season. That's where we get back to the DraftKings lineups and FanDuel and the props as well, because there will be tons of videos on that, plus betting as well. So everything is going to get cooking, man. I'm your boy Chef D. I'm trying to give you the ingredients to win, and this is where we're going to start off with the NFC North and the Chicago Bears. When will the Dalton experiment end? So it was a big surprise that they went and got him. They lost out on a couple guys, and they were forced to get Andy Dalton, the Chicago Bears. Luckily, in the draft, they were able to move to get Justin Fields up at their spot that they were at. And now we have a question of, it's a waiting game. It's a waiting game. When will Fields get his opportunity? How long can Dalton hold off Justin Fields? And we will see, because it's going to be hard. It's not going to be hard ranking this team because there's not that many assets on the Chicago Bears, but some key guys to look at. Just because they have limited options. David Montgomery was a RB20. Currently, he was a top 5 running back last year. With the injury to Tariq Cohen, he actually did better. He produced well at the end of the season and was a surprise running back to have. David Montgomery next. Allen Robinson, who's currently wide receiver 12. This dude is a QB-proof wide receiver. Just like Terry McLaurin, Allen Robinson, it doesn't matter what his quarterback is. Robinson was getting over 1,000 yards and plus 150 targets with Trubisky, with Foles. Now he has Andy Dalton. I'm pretty sure he'll be fine in this situation. Do not worry about him. There's certain wide receivers that you do not worry about. Terry McLaurin, I said. Allen Robinson is another one that's second. And the third one is actually Courtland Sutton. Very sneaky wide receiver on the Denver Broncos. But other Chicago Bears options would be Jimmy Graham. Other than Cole Kmet, Jimmy Graham was a big factor in the red zone. If we're just looking at NFL Savant, just checking out the targets, this was last year's stats. Allen Robinson had 104 on 152 targets, 68.42 completion percentage with 6 TDs and a 25.5 target share. Jimmy Graham was third with 75 targets, 51 receptions, and as you can see right there, 9 TDs. That's because in the red zone, him and Allen Robinson were king. Pretty much Jimmy Graham was king, right? He had 8. Allen Robinson came through with 4. But the target share was very close. You had a 23% with Allen Robinson in the red zone and a 22% with Jimmy Graham in the red zone, all right? And we're just looking for, high upside guys out of this wide receiver core. A wide receiver 2 you should look at, currently going wide receiver 55, is going to be Darnell Mooney. I really like his prospects. He has a 4.3 40. He has a ton of speed, a lot of upside from him. He established the number 2 wide receiver spot. That's why I didn't go out and get anyone else, really, any big free agent or a high touted wide receiver in the draft. I think Mooney will excel in this offense. He just has to he had to deal with a lot of problems last year with Trubisky missing some deep throws. And we've seen it in big games where Mooney was open and Trubisky would literally overthrow him. But the kid has a ton of upsides and a lot of speed. And I think he goes to that next level. Those 4 TDs can easily bump up just a little bit to that 5, 6, maybe 7 range. And then we're hoping for a little bit more targets on this side, as long as Dalton is comfortable, and hopefully Justin Fields gets his opportunity probably late in the season. All right. So any breakout candidates that I'm currently looking at for the Chicago Bears is going to be Allen Robinson, because he is your model of consistency each and every year. And then Darnell Mooney is going to be my guy that should break out, and he's going super late at wide receiver 55. That is insane. Insane. I'm a little bit down on David Montgomery because Tariq Cohen is back this year. Do they have another running back to crowd that whole? Yeah, they got Damian Williams as well. So they have a rookie in Khalil Herbert. They brought in Damian Williams, who was from the Kansas City Chiefs, the champion Kansas City Chiefs. They got Tariq Cohen to take third down work and be that pass catching guy. And then you got David Montgomery, who's the lead back. I think he just bumps just a little bit lower on a totem pole. So he's going right where he's supposed to play at RB20. I wouldn't be jumping the gun, think he's going to be top 10 yet again. That was a little bit of a surprise, but something to watch out for. All right. Next team is going to be the Detroit Lions, man. The Detroit Lions. The shitty Lions, man. They have given up their franchise quarterback in Matthew Stafford. He has left. Kenny Galladay has left. Marvin Jones has left. And the core of this team is all about youth, between, the drafting of Penei Sewell, could be a cornerstone right tackle. Then you have TJ Hawkinson, and you have DeAndre Swift. Those are the two key guys on the offensive side. Obviously, you have average Jared Goff. He just has to get the ball to his receivers, to his playmakers, as frequently as possible. And you're in a situation where those are the two best assets. So let's talk about tight end number 5, Hawkinson. He is in a situation where, like I said before, Kenny Galladay is gone, Marvin Jones is gone, and that leaves a huge target share for, obviously, Hawkinson and other wide receivers to get into those opportunities. So last year, just looking at Hawkinson, he already had 18% red zone target share, and he had a 19% target share in all passing targets. So that has to go up. That has to go up. Your big target in Kenny Galladay is gone. Marvin Jones, another big target, is gone. So I'm thinking the lead dog on this team is going to be Hawkinson. I understand the tight end number 5, that is high, but the opportunity is there. The targets are there. He already had 100 targets last year. He can go to a whole nother level this year. You got Jared Goff as the quarterback. He already is comfortable throwing to tight ends, coming from McVay's scheme, throwing to Higbee and Gerald Everett. He loves tight ends, so I can see the connection here with TJ Hawkinson. Don't be mad when Darren Fells gets some cheap touchdowns as well, because he did that last year with the Houston Texans. But Hawkinson should be, locked in as that lead tight end, and I like his price and ADP right now. It's tight end number 5. That's up to you if you're taking that leap. I have some other tight ends that I'm more bullish on, and then we have DeAndre Swift, huge X factor, second year running back, and this man has a ton of upside. Obviously, they did add Jamal Williams from Green Bay. I'm not too concerned about that. But the key for me loving DeAndre Swift is the acquisition of Anthony Lynn as the offensive coordinator, leaving the Chargers, getting a demotion, coming down to, up to Detroit and becoming the offensive coordinator. He can, less responsibility focusing on a whole entire team. Now he can focus on just one entity, and that's the offense. And you already know how Anthony Lynn and his offenses build around the running backs just from the beginning of his time from the Chargers. In 2017, he had a big year with Melvin Gordon, over 1,100 yards, 8 TDs, 58 catches, 476 yards receiving with 4 TDs. So you see how they use them in the rushing and the receiving game. DeAndre Swift has that ability, and he is super, super explosive. In 2018, Melvin Gordon, again, 885 yards rushing, 10 TDs, 50 catches, 490 yards, and 4 TDs. In 2019, it was a little bit split, but in the second half, it was really Austin Eckler. And as you can see right here, I got it highlighted in 2019. 557 yards, 3 TDs. He had 92 receptions, man. 92 receptions, 993 yards, and 8 TDs. Absolutely insane. And the list just goes on and on and on. So he's leaving the Chargers, coming to this new situation. I expect a big breakout year for DeAndre Swift. Currently RB16. I think that is too cheap. I would take him even higher. I love this guy, and I'm excited to see the Lions this season. All right. Some shot in the dark wide receiver if you're looking for a pass catcher other than Hawkinson in the Detroit Lions offense. They did acquire Tyrell Williams and they did acquire Brashad Perriman. If I'm picking out of the two, I'm not really looking at the rookie Amon St. Brown, but I'm choosing between Perriman and Tyrell Williams. I'm going to go with Perriman just because I've seen some upside with him. With the New York Jets, Tyrell Williams is a one-dimensional wide receiver with his crossing routes, and that's pretty much how he does his damage. But Perriman still has some ability and some upside. He had some big weeks last season, a 2-touchdown game, and another game with 8 targets, like 60 yards and a touchdown. He had some upside, but we're talking about the Detroit Lions here. They have no other option, so. Obviously, other than Hawkinson and Swift, one of those two wide receivers is going to have to step up, and they should get a decent target share in that offense. Next is going to be the Green Bay Packers, and the big proponent on this is, will Aaron Rodgers stay? If we're just looking at the latest news, currently Aaron Rodgers was offered a 2-year contract extension earlier this offseason. He declined it. The deal would have kept Rodgers in Green Bay for the next 5 years. According to Schefter, the extension would have made him the highest paid player in NFL. Rodgers obviously rejected the offer, and that indicates the rift between him and the organization really is about more than just money. Many had speculated that a new deal would bring Rodgers back, but it appears that the bad blood runs deeper than that. So you got a huge question mark if Rodgers does not return. This is not good news. He said no to 2-year contract extension that would have made him the highest paid player in the NFL. He said no to that. So clearly this man's mind is somewhere else. He wants to be somewhere where he's welcome and the offense is all focused on him. Him and Matt LaFleur have been bumping heads. So there's a lot of talk about that. And if he is not with the Green Bay Packers, all these guys take a hit. All right. Devonta Adams, after being the number 1 wide receiver, he takes a hit, which tends to happen with wide receiver ones. They go have their best season of the year, and then the next season they fall off. That tends to happen every single year, if you haven't noticed. Aaron Jones could be in the situation where he might be okay because the loss of Jamal Williams. Now Aaron Jones can get that third down work, can get more receptions out of the backfield, but the downgrade at QB will be huge. Obviously, Scantling takes a fall, Robert Tonyan takes a fall, Alan Lazard takes a fall, guys like that. It's just something to wait and see. But if we're acting like, just say, hypothetical, if Aaron Rodgers does stay, which I highly doubt it, then you're looking at Adams obviously being wide receiver number 1 yet again. He had 19 TDs last year, 151 targets. Absolutely insane. He cashed in on 10 of 11 red zone targets for 7 TDs. That's Robert Tonyan at tight end 16. So that's another high upside receiver on the Green Bay Packers, and Robert Tonyan. He could be a sleeper if Aaron Rodgers stays because he's currently going at tight end 16. That's really late for someone that was a top 5 tight end last year. That's absolutely insane. And then Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones the only person that gets a boost is just because Jamal Williams is gone, and I think they'll lean on a running game to help support Jordan Love if Aaron Rodgers is gone. I think that's the safest option from the Green Bay Packers. if Aaron Rodgers is gone. But that is a big if, and we will wait and see, because you got to wait and see. We're not sure yet, but obviously, if he is back, then you're sticking with your guns with all the weapons on the Green Bay Packers side. You see some high upside from Allen Lazard as well. If I'm choosing a number 2 wide receiver other than Devontae Adams. Now, let's look over to the Minnesota Vikings. And we don't have no questions at quarterback. We have Kirk Cousins. Can he be a top 10 QB? I want to say no. Okay, I definitely want to say no. Obviously, he has the yards. He finished top 10 in yards with 4,265. He finished top 10 in TDs with 35. But the rushing upside will ultimately hurt him in fantasy football. Okay, this is someone that you can definitely fill in the late as a QB, a starting QB for you guys. If you're missing the top 10 QBs in the draft, the number 1 QB with no rushing upside should be, to me, should be definitely Kirk Cousins. Should be definitely Kirk Cousins. If I'm choosing between Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan, I'm taking Kirk Cousins. I understand you got Kyle Pitts, you got Calvin Ridley, but the 1-2 punch over here, plus leaning on Dalvin Cook, the efficiency is there with Minnesota, a little safer right here, and I like what he has as Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson currently going as wide receiver 7, and Adam Thielen going as wide receiver 17. Their current ADPs are 2 thumbs up. I agree with that right there. The question mark on this offense is going to be the offensive line. Some holes in that line, which gets Kirk Cousins into some trouble, but the balance of Dalvin Cook is a plus. Let's talk about some regression on Adam Thielen. I think he takes a little bit bump down. That's why I like his current ADP as wide receiver 17. It could come down just a little bit because Thielen should see a regression in TDs. He was 13 out of 14 TDs in the red zone with a 33% target share and a 73% completion rating. That is absolutely insane, and that is hard to keep up year to year. Plus, you have Justin Jefferson, who finished the year very strong, and I see more than 7 TDs from him this year. Also, in the red zone, he was 1 of 8 in the red zone. Justin Jefferson getting TDs. That can clearly switch the other way because of his upside, and that's just what it is. He's a better wide receiver than Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen had an amazing year last year, but Justin Jefferson is that guy, and he is an elite wide receiver 1 in fantasy football. Currently going wide receiver 7. Definitely should be in a conversation of wide receiver 5 and above. So we will see. All right. And now we're just looking at stats like I told you right here. I told you Adam Thielen, insane, 73%, 33% in target share. Some other guys to look at on this offense is going to be Irv Smith. We're being very, very hopeful he can break out. Obviously, with Kyle Rudolph leaving to go to the New York Giants, Irv Smith is left in a role where he's tight end number 1 between him and Tyler Conklin. They love Tyler Conklin, but they did put second-round capital in getting Irv Smith Jr. So we're hoping he breaks out. I really do. But they do run 2 tight end sets, and Tyler Conklin could be eating into some of his production. So just be very careful. Irv Smith is going really late anyway. He still can be a sleeper. The upside is there. All the measurables are there. The speed is there. The hands are there. It's just, will Conklin, just mitigate some of his progression? And we will see. All right, we will see. Let me know in that comment section down below how you feel about the preview, today's preview of the NFC North. I'm really, really bullish on some certain guys here. Justin Jefferson, obviously, should be a huge breakout from the Vikings. We're looking at the Packers. I think the safest player on that team would be Aaron Jones, with or without Aaron Rodgers. Lions, I love DeAndre Swift and TJ Hawkinson. And on the Bears is going to be Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney as the wide receivers on that team. Let me know how you feel about these choices in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And follow me on Instagram and Twitter at metsnetsjets. I'll be back with another video very, very soon. We're going to move into the next division. Peace out, guys.